Jose Altuve makes history as he passes Jeff Bagwell for the second most hits in Astros franchise history as the Astros take 2 out of 3 from the Colorado Rockies. Joe Espada's gamble in the series finale did not pay off, plus an encouraging injury update on Yordan Alvarez. All that and more is coming right up. Stay tuned. What a Rocky series against the Rockies in Denver. No pun intended. The Astros did take 2 out of 3 regardless, and in the process, Altuve passed Jeff Bagwell for the second most hits in Astros franchise history on the all-time list. But let's break down the series. Real quick, let's dive right into a couple of injury updates, starting with a rather encouraging one surrounding Yordan Alvarez that was posted earlier this week by Chandler Rome, and I'll link to the post down in the video description for those who want to read it. But Yordan and the Astros had received some encouraging news from a hand specialist, which Yordan saw on Wednesday, and examined his sore right hand that day. As part of it, additional imaging was done on that hand, and it had revealed that the main cause of his current pain was primarily due to inflammation, which, that's kind of been the main cause this whole time, so, it's really nothing new here. But the small fracture that had been sustained is now a non-factor in the discomfort that he is currently experiencing. So that's a good thing. And as a result of the examination, he had received 2 injections in his hand on Wednesday and will, unfortunately, refrain from any activity involving his hand in the coming days. This wasn't the first time that Alvarez had received injections in his hand while on the injured list. He was transferred to the 60-day injured list to make room on the 40-man roster with the Astros making an injury move. But don't freak out on this because with him being injured for as long as he has, he can come off the injured list whenever he's ready. So he doesn't need to stay on. So just because he's on that list doesn't mean he needs to stay on there. So figured I'd clarify that. For the most part, somewhat encouraging, but also at the same time, it's a bit discouraging, I guess you can say, considering that, he's probably going to be down for a couple of weeks until that inflammation starts to die down. I hope that we're not going to go back to square one, but considering how well the Astros are playing and how much of a comfortable lead that we have in our division, the last thing that I think the Astros should be doing is trying to rush his recovery process. So, if he's out for the entire season, that'll be sad, but at the same time, if this team can sustain this level of success, then that's also great because, like I said, we've won almost 40 plus, we've won nearly 40 games without Yordan Alvarez since he's been injured since May. Overall, not too bad. Next up, Jeremy Pena. He unfortunately did not resume baseball activities this week in Denver, though he could resume them this weekend in LA. We'll have to see about that with his rib fracture. Speaking of rib fractures, Jake Myers was actually also hit by a pitch in, I believe, the second game of this series. He was hit in a pretty similar spots that Jeremy Pena was hit. However, as of when I'm recording this video, we don't have any official update on him as whether he's going to hit the injured list or not. Hopefully he isn't. If at the very least he's in the lineup, we know for sure he's not hurt. But, like I said, we'll see. Diving straight into the series itself, it was Colton Gordon in the Astros that would blink first in the first inning as Hunter Goodman, who was honestly playing on a rather all-star caliber level coming into this game. He had 2 hits in this game, with the first of which came in the first inning, a one-out home run off of Colton Gordon that put the Rockies up 1-0 early. But in the top of the second, the Astros would respond right away with Christian Walker hitting an RBI single to score Cam Smith from third base after he had gotten on base to lead off the inning. That was the score going into the third inning, when Victor Caratini would provide the big blow of the night with a grand slam to put us up 6-1. That grand slam ultimately proved to be the decisive home run because slowly over the course of this game, the Rockies would start chipping away. In the bottom of the third inning, Tiago Estrella would hit a sac fly to score Hunter Goodman to make it 6-2. And then Tyler Freeman would hit an RBI double in the fourth inning, 6-3 Astros. And then shortly after that, an RBI single in the bottom of the fifth inning would score Jordan Beck, who had ultimately collected 5 hits over the course of this game, which, letting a player get a 5-hit game on us, obviously not a good thing, especially if you consider the fact that Jose Altuve has yet to even have a 5-hit game. Jeremy Pena has one, George Springer has one, and it still shocks me to this day he has yet to have a 5-hit game. And then Hunter Goodman, who had homered to start the game back in the first inning, would homer in the bottom of the ninth inning off of Josh Hader to make it a 1-run game. But that's as close as the Rockies would get, as Josh Hader, coming in having been named AL reliever of the month for the month of June, would get save number 24 on the season to seal the deal and deny the comeback attempt for the Rockies. So rather gritty win to start the series, but like if you kind of look at the fact that we had multiple scoring opportunities over the course of this game, I mean, our offense really went into hibernation after that Caratini grand slam because like I said, those 6 runs we had scored, because once we went up 6-1, that was the most we'd score in the game. And ultimately, like I said, that grand slam was decisive. Diving straight here into Game 2, Shea Whitcomb would actually strike first for the Astros and after he had gotten his first MLB hit last year for the Astros, he had actually managed to hit his first MLB home run at a whopping 450 plus feet. And I mean, it had to come in Colorado, which is already a hitter's ballpark to begin with, given how thin the air is here. That home run of his came in the second inning to put us up 2-0. Unfortunately, that 2-0 lead would not last as Mickey Moniak would hit a 2-run home run of his own to tie the score at 2. That was the score going into the 6th inning as the bases were loaded with 2 outs for Jose Altuve, who would bat home a pair of runs and to put us up 4-2. This hit right here was the hit that put him ahead of Jeff Bagwell for second most hits in Astros franchise history. Then Cam Smith would add a little bit of insurance to that on an RBI single to put us up 5-2. That one ultimately would not be needed as Benet Sousa, who was coming into this game, had to get the save instead of Josh Hader. Despite him allowing the first 2 guys to reach on a couple of bloop hits, I mean, the Astros were able to seal the deal. I mean, obviously, with 2 runners on and one with men on the corners and no outs in the bottom of the 9th inning, Benet Sousa was able to induce a double play, which did score 1 run. But in the grand scheme of things, that was a pretty big deal because, you know, obviously, you'd rather trade a run for and get at least 1 out in the process, which is what they did here. But Benet Sousa was able to finish off the deal in this game and get his 3rd save of the season. Not a bad night for the Astros, but, you know, a rather rocky finish given the fact that this game kind of went back and forth. But a game that really went back and forth was the series finale. I didn't watch this game at all because I had to work, so nor did I watch the highlights just because of how it ended up going. Thairo Estrada, of course, was probably the main star in this game as he batted home 4 RBIs, 2 of which came in the bottom of the 1st inning on a 2-run home run after the Astros took a 2-0 lead early in the top of the 1st inning. But that lead would not last as Thairo Estrada would get home Kyle Farmer on an RBI groundout to make it 3-3. That was the score going into the bottom of the 4th, and Ryan Ritter would bat home a pair of runs to put the Rockies up 5-3. That was the score going into the 7th before Cam Smith came up to the plate with 2 guys on. He was able to bat both of those guys home with a 2-run triple to tie the score at 3, though unfortunately that it wouldn't stay tied for long, as in the bottom of the 7th, Jordan Weems, who Joe Espada was making a gamble on to put him out for another inning, did not pay off as he would give up the 2 decisive runs to put the Rockies up 7-5. The Astros comeback, unfortunately, in the top of the 9th fell just short, as despite the Astros having the tying run in scoring position for Victor Caratini, unfortunately, that he just could not get it done as the Astros comeback falls just short in the 9th as they drop at the series finale 7-6. It was a rather wild game here in Colorado, but, you know, given the fact that, again, it was a hitter's ballpark, I mean, I'm not too upset about it considering, you know, even the bad teams will win every once in a while. Just like, you know, how the good teams will lose every once in a while. This is a loss that we can certainly get past quickly, I guess you can say. Cam Smith aside, we didn't really play very well in this game at all. Brandon Walter really didn't pitch very well. He gave up 5 earned runs on 8 hits over 5 innings of work. So, I mean, not very good. I mean, Colton Gordon didn't really pitch very well either. I mean, neither of those 2 guys had really struggled to pitch in this stadium. I mean, Hunter Brown, of course, pitched amazing, but, you know, like I said, the 2 minor leaguers didn't really pitch their best over the course of the series. Next up, we're going to be continuing this road trip and heading south over to LA for a 3-game set at Dodger Stadium. I have a feeling that this series is going to be a madhouse. We're already going to have plenty of fireworks go off for 4th of July on Friday night, but there's going to be even more at Dodger Stadium, I would imagine, and even over the course of this weekend series. So, man, oh man, dude, it's going to be a bloodbath, but I'm still excited nonetheless. This is a series I've been bracing myself for the past 2 weeks or so. We've got Framber Valdez lined up. I think it's going to be imperative that we at least try to win that game that he starts. It's going to be on a national broadcast, and if there's one thing we've done over the past couple of weeks on national TV, it's that we tend to embarrass ourselves a little bit. So, I hope that trend's not going to be the case. And Lance McCullers' next start is also going to be Friday. So I'm hoping that he can try to redeem himself. But, I mean, considering the fact that he's pitched much better on the road over his 8 starts leading up to this, I have a strong feeling that he can try and that he can pitch rather well in this game and try to redeem himself after that atrocious start he had against the Cubs last weekend. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. If you want to see anything else, click these cards here above my shoulders. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next one.